What's up, Pyros? Sam. I wanted to do something with the crackle that we made in the last video. I was thinking, I got some double voice cracker tooling laying around. It's real simple device, pretty cool. If you don't know what it is, stick around. I'll show you. All right, so if you guys aren't aware of what a double voice cracker is, I wasn't, and until just a few months ago. It's really cool, simple device, easy to make. What it is basically a firecracker, but it's a call it a two-stage firecracker. The first stage is it propels itself into the air 30, 25, 30 feet maybe, and then it pops again. Tooling for it is simple. It's basically just a base. We can make it at home, super easy, just with a couple pieces of dowel, whatever size you want. This is 1 pound tooling, so 3/4 diameter. The base is just big enough for a fuse hole. Just this is drilled for American Visco fuse. The purpose of the tooling is you slide your tube, you stick your fuse in there about 1.25 1.5 inches long. You slide your tube over there, and then you pour bentonite clay into the tube, right? And then you stick your rammer in there. The rammer's hollow, and you put, I think I usually do 2 teaspoons worth of clay, and then you'll hammer the rammer, and that'll form a solid clay plug with your fuse hole in it, right? And then what we do is turn it over, pack it with a lift charge. I'm sorry, first, we'll backtrack. Before we pack it with the lift charge, we'll drill a little fuse hole here, hot glue your fuse in, 3, 4 inch long fuse, nothing crazy. Then pack it with whatever black powder you got laying around. Close this end off, and then basically do the same on this end minus the fuse. Real super simple, like I said. Let's do it. All right, first step, we're going to install our fuse here. Like I said, mine's drilled for American Visco fuse. You can use black match, whatever you got laying around. I usually like to get, like I said, about 1.25 inches worth of fuse, just because I like a good solid tall clay plug in there so it doesn't blow out. So just something like that, 1.25 inches or so. Read my tube real quick, make sure we ain't got no hang-ups. Slide your tube on there. Make sure your rammer slides in there easy, which mine doesn't. That's why we check before we put clay in it. Make sure your rammer slides down over my fuse. It does. So do a couple little spoonfuls of clay. For clay, I just use whatever I use for my rocket nozzle mix. It's just cat litter with treated with a little bit of graphite. 1, 2. You can press or hand ram these. I'm gonna hand ram just for convenience sake. I'll take you over to my pounding post to show you that. All right, we're not doing anything crazy here. We're just gonna give it a couple good firm whacks. Make sure that clay plugs in there nicely consolidated. Whenever I'm hand ramming either a rocket nozzle or a clay insert plug like this, I like to grab my tube when I'm hammering, and as soon as I start to feel the tube bulge a little bit, I know that I've consolidated that clay enough. Probably can't see it on camera, but that tube is just ever so slightly bulged around that plug. On my tooling, it has a pull handle, so pull my rammer out. Sliding in here, you probably won't be able to see it, but that plug is nicely consolidated and our fuse is sticking out perfectly. All right, so for the next step, we're just going to pull it off of our base. Sorry, my lighting in here is shitty, but you can see in there a little bit. That's the bottom. That's where our lift charge is going to go. This next step, you're either going to need a drill or a good sharp pyro poke and all. I'm just going to use a drill just to keep it simple. But we're going to drill our fuse hole out, look up in there and eyeball it. I like to go about halfway in between the bottom of my plug and the very bottom of the tube, right about here on my tooling. Nice clean hole. Stick our fuse into. Voila. And I just like to hot glue mine. That. All right. I'm just using meal. I call meal. It's just everything I got minus 12 whenever I separate it, 12 mesh. You might call it something different, but just regular old granulated black powder. Just take my rammer. And we don't go crazy with it, but I do like to compress it as good as I can. See, it's not, if I turn it over, it's not going to fall out. It's a nice solid plug in there. So then I'm going to take, I got a couple chipboard discs, same as the inside diameter of my tube. I'm going to place one in there. Then I'm going to just fill that whole cavity with hot glue. We want that inside cavity to be really nice and compact and solid. Now you can either put another, you could just leave it like that if you wanted to, but I suggest either using another plug that matches the first one you put in there. I like to put I got a bunch of these 2.5 inch chipboard discs. Use a little bit more glue. I like to put a little base on it since I got a bunch of those 2.5 inch chipboard discs laying around anyway, or cylinder shells. There's that. Look, we're already halfway done. Oh, we're halfway done. Then, so we're gonna use our crackle on this, but I am gonna just put a little bit of black powder in there. If you watched the crackle video, which if you're watching this one, I assume you did, you know, black powder, I'm sorry, crackle isn't always easy to get lit, so everything we can do to help that, we're going to do it. And just a safety step, whenever you're not working with a composition, it's always wise to put a lid over it, set it to the side. As little exposed composition as you can have laying around, the better. You know, we're dealing with extremely flammable and sometimes explosive chemicals. As little bit as we can have laying around, the better, obviously. There's our leftover crackle from the last video. And I'm going to top it off. Like I said, if everything goes right. If everything goes right, it should propel itself about 25, 30 feet in the air before it blows up and our crackle ignites. You know what, I actually have a little bit of that prime still laying around, stuff we sifted out, so I am just gonna put a little dash of that in there. Then same thing we did on the bottom half, we're going to slightly compress it. Gotta get crazy, but give it a good push with whatever you use to ram your plug. See that in there? And then we're going to close it up the exact same way. Follow the disc. Fill it with glue. And you could stop there if you wanted to, but I'm going to throw one more disc on top. Because I'm a little bit extra. There you have it. It's a double voice cracker. We'll let that glue harden up nice and firm, and then we'll go out and shoot it off. See you guys. Let's try it out. Well, that didn't work how it was supposed to, but that's part of pyro. You know, when shit goes wrong, we got to figure out what happened, adjust as necessary, and see if it works the next time. I don't have time to do it right now, but I'll post a video of what it's supposed to look like and update you guys on what I did to fix it. It worked, just kind of half-assed. It should have made it, you know, a good 25 feet at least in the air before it popped. I'd say it was probably closer to 15. If I had to guess, I used too much lift or compacted it too tight and it blew the tube out. Something along those lines, or my clay plug blew out, something like that. We'll figure it out, and I'll post an update soon. Thanks for watching, guys.